We're talking to Joe Vardon, joining us from Paris. He's NBA senior writer for The Athletic, covering the Summer Olympics. How entertaining is the Joel Embiid versus France story to you?
I mean, I've written it, I don't know, 5 times now. Like my reporting on this, Dan, goes all the way back to, I was telling you, in January. One of the stories I came back with is that the French Federation, on the record, and they had like receipts. They said that they helped him get a French passport because he told them to, because he wanted to play for them. And they were explicit about this. So it goes back at least that far, that like the French, the basketball federation, the government, President Macron called Embiid to try to recruit him after the passport had been granted. And then the fans at large, like, they know all this stuff. And so it's been fascinating to me to see their reaction to him, but then watch sort of the evolution of Joel through this. He was startled the first game. He was also like really sick, which we didn't know until recently. Grant Hill had told me that Joel was so sick that day that he had to drive up the day of the game from Paris to Lille separately. But he seemed to be taken back by the booze. And then his teammates got his back and started waving the booze on with him. And then he started to shift his commentary about what was going on. At one point he said he doesn't care if they boo. Then he said, well, I'm an American, and I'm always going to play for Team USA. And then he said he hinted strongly that the USA players wanted him and the French players didn't. And now he said, well, I love France, and I was always going to play for Cameroon if they qualified for the Olympics, but since they didn't, I picked the U.S. So to me, what's been fun has been the evolution of the saga, instead of just like, Joel making the one inappropriate gesture and fans yelling back at him. Like, I don't care as much about that, but I've been intrigued to watch Embiid handle all this.
But this isn't quid pro quo that France will get you a passport, but you must play for it. Is that what you think happened here?
No, it was more like, I mean, the recruitment goes back years, by Boris Diaw. We know him well in the U.S., and the French Federation president, who we would not know in the U.S. But they were taking meetings with Joel like in 2021, even, to gauge his interest. And the reason why is, for years before that, he had stated in several French publications that he had interest in doing this. So they recruit him, and according to them, they had gotten him to the point where he said, okay, I am going to play. And they said, well, you need to be a French citizen to be on the team. And according to them, he said, okay, get me a passport. Joel, through a spokesman, has denied this, denied the quid pro quo. But it's hard to it's hard to believe that this isn't at least very close to true, especially because they're explicit. The French Federation guys, they're explicit in that, like, this is not done in France. They are always playing guys who just are from this country, period. Joel has never lived there. And that they were making an exception for a truly great player who had at the time wanted to do it. So I think that's all real. I do. And I think that, Joel's evolution from where he was and wanting to play for them and then ultimately picking the U.S., is a fascinating saga too.